This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
Whoa, not so fast, my friend. I promise you to stick around till the end of the show because we had a bit of a surprise. There's usually a no guests needed rule here on Something to Wrestle. Well, how about this for something different? We don't normally do this, but we're throwing the rule book out the window, Freebird style. But we're making an exception today for a very special reason and a very special person. Today is, I guess, bittersweet. Today would have been Terry Bam Bam Gordy's 60th birthday. And in order to pay tribute to him, we've got probably the best friend he ever had, Mr. Michael P.S. Hayes. Michael, how are you, man?
I'm awesome, Conrad. Thank you for having me. And let me tell you that that road goes both ways. Man, you know, when you sit around and you thought all your life that you wouldn't make it to 30, and now I just turned 62, and man, I miss Buddy and I miss Terry, and especially the things that go on now or that are at least coming back with your Comic-Cons and your WrestleCons and, you know, the autograph appearances that we all could have done and still, you know, bullshit it and talked about our stories and stuff. And, you know, that's not going to happen. So, but it's okay because my memories keep me very happy about both of them. But this week it's about Terry. And, you know, Conrad, everybody's heard the stories, you know, about how Terry and I got together. I think it was in Port Gibson, Mississippi, and the promoter told me if I didn't like it, I could leave. So, of course, I left. And I had that long wait in the car till Terry come out and said, well, where are we going, Michael? I told him if I didn't want you, they didn't want me. But I've been thinking a lot about that this week. And I thought, what if Terry didn't come down to the car and say that? And what if Terry didn't leave?
Wow.
And if you go there, man, you lose a lot of historical things that happened with the fabulous Freebirds and those people we were fortunate to work against. I mean, if that happened, now Terry would have made it in his own right because of his wrestling ability, and I probably would have sooner or later made it because of my gift of gab, but not at that early of an age, teaming together to combine those powers.
You know, what's crazy, Michael, is he passed away when he was just 40 years old. So here we are, you know, celebrating his 60th birthday. I don't think a lot of people know how young you guys were when you started running. I mean, I think he started wrestling when he's like 14, 15 years old, something like that.
I think his first match was for Johnny Powers opposition wrestling in the Carolinas, and it was against Ernie Ladd on TV at the age of 13.
Oh my gosh!
You know, he just obviously, you know, Jimmy Garvin said it a million times. It's the truth. He was God's gift to wrestling. He was bestowed that, and you know, to that, I've always felt, especially the later I get in my life, that God really does like wrestling. I mean, he really does, whether he gets a kick out of it or what, because there's no way I come up with some of these ideas I come up with without his help. And I know other people feel like that too, like Shawn Michaels. But, you know, going back to if Terry had not made that decision, well, then you probably don't get the Freebirds, at least at that time. And if they hadn't gone at that time and then went to Goulas for a little bit of time, then to Jarrett to kick off doing the music, then to Bill Watts, then you miss out on the whole Junkyard Dog saga. And then potentially, you know, the Freebirds breaking that barrier with the music on Georgia Championship Wrestling and what all that led to, and, you know, just really plugged our notoriety because it was the only national show at the time. And then you got to think, well, shit, maybe you wouldn't have seen the Freebird Von Erich feud.
Right. Let my family save your family some cash. You don't need perfect credit. You don't need money out of your pocket, but we will save you money. It's not a matter if, it's a matter of how much. SaveWithConrad.com.
You know what I mean? And then, you know, you go on down the line, and then the Freebirds and the Road Warriors, and then how about Dr. Death and Terry Gordy and all the stuff they did in Japan? I mean, you take Terry out of the equation, we lose a lot of historical significance in our business.
Right.
So, you know, that's really all I wanted to do was just, put it out there, say how much I loved him. I hope people take the time to go back and watch his matches. He was such a teddy bear, and unlike the rough bastard he was in the ring. Did he have his faults? Of course he had his faults. We all have faults.
Yeah.
Anybody out there that doesn't have a fault, come kiss my big fat ass because you're lying. Okay.
Hey,
I was just with Nate Tuesday morning, and I still get a kick out of him. I mean, he's just I love him to death, always have, but I mean he's just always going to be Rick,
Right.
Like I'm just always going to be Michael, and you're just always going to be Conrad, and some of us are just blessed with that. But 60 years, that would have been really cool. Wasn't meant to be. It's in a better place, and I'm okay with that, but just sometimes I get a little melancholy thinking about it, and I appreciate you and Bruce and giving me the time to say that. And like I said, I hope everybody will check out something about Terry Gordy. Check out Freebird Road. I'm proud of that song, which is dedicated to him, that Johnny Van Zant and Donnie Van Zant allowed me to rewrite. So with that said,
Michael, recommend some matches. A lot of people hear what a stud Terry was over in Japan, and a lot of people remember his tag run with Dr. Death, even in WCW. But are there some old, Freebird stuff from World Class or something like that really stand out to you that you'd recommend?
Well, yes. Obviously, I would say, the Texas Stadium 6-man tag when Fritz came out of retirement. There was a tag with the boys from Fort Worth. I believe it was July 4th, 83 or maybe 84. It was a Bad Street match. And I would venture to say probably the first, not the first ever, because, there's never a first ever. There's things that are equivalent to or take from something. But what I'm talking about, that Bad Street match is one of the first hardcore matches, I think. And it just never stopped. There's also matches when Terry went back to Texas and had his war with Killer Khan. Those were really good matches. There was one with Flair in Sportatorium. I'm not as privy or as educated, I should say, to the ones that him and Doc had in Japan. I did see a lot. I'll tell you what, I saw a match Terry showed me one time. That was him versus Doc. That was unbelievable. And it was obviously from Japan, All Japan Wrestling. So that, those are the ones I would throw out there right now.
You and I were lucky enough to watch an old highlight clip, and it's made the rounds. Somebody in the crowd was sort of jaw-jacking with Terry, and he had enough of that. And you described the shove that Terry had on that fan in a very interesting way. Do you remember the way you described that shove?
Well, I remember watching it back in slow motion, and it looked like he just broke the guy's back because it's like his waist stayed where it was and his mouth and the cigarette in it, but his back just went way back. I mean, it was almost like a cartoon, and I don't know if that's the way I described it. That's the way I remember it. I do also remember that guy tried to get money out of us, or the company at the time for it. But pretty much back then, when you bought your ticket, there was a disclaimer on the back that we could shoot anything we wanted to of you. And how stupid is he to get up in Terry's face? Oh yeah, that's crazy. God dang it, please! What? That's like a dog chasing parked cars.
Well, of course it's
not a winnable situation.
No, it is not a winnable situation. We're going to watch some Terry Gordy matches and celebrate his memory this weekend. Thank you for making those recommendations. Real quick, let's touch on Mr. Gordy's family. He was married for a long, long time to a beautiful lady named Connie, and I think he's got some kids who have started to dabble in the business a little bit here and there. What can you share with us about the Gordy family these days?
Well, I know that Amber, his youngest daughter, just had her second child recently. Miranda, his oldest daughter, is really making quite a name for herself on the independent circuit. She calls herself the Bad Street Beauty, and she's progressing. and hopefully one day we'll get her down at NXT once she gets a little bit more reps and, gets even better on the mic. Ray Gordy, who was Jesse with Festus and Jesse sometime in the early 2000s, he had a good career. He's a very good worker, but he has migrated into the law enforcement field.
Oh, cool.
And has been a sheriff in Cobb County for some years, and I believe he's switching over to Kennesaw, which is like right north of Cobb County. But they've Miranda's the only one active right now, and man, she looks great, and she's just a star waiting to hatch.
Well, we'll all keep an eye out for her. All right, man. I'll edit that in. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Enough said. I hope everybody has an awesome weekend. This is my last weekend of vacation. I got to see my mother, who I hadn't seen since the pandemic. It was almost a year and a half.
Oh my gosh.
So I've been having a friggin' awesome time. And, I just turned the corner as far as WrestleMania. I'm proud as hell of that. That was just awesome. And I was so happy for the kids to be able to work in front of the crowd again. Because, I've gone on record saying that, why this group is more athletic, that they're not as good with promos, and maybe they're not as tough. And then I got to thinking about it a couple of weeks ago. Man, when you go out there and wrestle like they have, like there's still a crowd there, and do all they put themselves through, I'm sorry, that's pretty fucking tough.
Yeah.
So I decided to eat my words on that. But enough about that. I appreciate you guys a lot. You should appreciate me because you use me all the time in all your stories. Only half of them are fucking true, by the way. But and I've never received a residual check.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.